Oh my God, maximalism actually is minimalism because it's just focusing on the best.
It's Bitcoin that's decentralized.
Why don't you accept Bitcoin for taxes? It's going to be a very huge marketing move. And I saw a news published on the newspaper. We're going to accept Bitcoin for taxes.
It's great to live in a city where you can actually spend your Bitcoin.
The government, they are really confused. In a Bitcoin standard, it's more time for the things that make life beautiful.
I usually research about my guests. I will look through their Twitter feeds. I see if there's YouTube videos on there, if there's interviews on there. I saw that you're like in Bitcoin Prague, you were on stage, you were on different other stages. I think in Amsterdam you also were on stage.
Yeah.
And you talked on the topic about Bitcoin maximalism. And I never covered on my Bitcoin only podcast the topic about Bitcoin maximalism, which is really weird. And that's why I wanted to just start out with the question that you are saying Bitcoin maximalism is actually minimalism. Like, first of all, like, what is for you Bitcoin maximalism and why is it minimalism for you?
Sure. Wow. A very nice question because I think about this topic a lot. And when they asked me to talk about Bitcoin maximalism, I thought, actually, it's the contrary. So I got to research a little bit and I was like, oh my God, maximalism actually is minimalism because it's just focusing on the best, on one stuff and don't care about anything else. Just like, if you look at some topics from minimalism, just like decluttering your stuff, decluttering is not about throwing away necessarily. It's just something you do to get to the best, to get to focus on the stuff that really matters for you. And once you start declutter, you declutter your time, your relationship, you declutter your goals, you declutter everything, and you remain just like with the best. And so when you start with Bitcoin, you declutter every other project that seems just like Bitcoin, but it's not Bitcoin. And in the end, the only one that it's really, really decentralized, censorship resistant, which is all the characteristic by design, doesn't have a point of failure, and all the characteristic of Bitcoin, actually it's the only one that can do that and has done that since the conception of Bitcoin. And so you can focus your energy, your investment, the value, everything on Bitcoin only. So it's super, super easy, empowering. It's very funny because they invited me to talk about this topic. It happens from time to time to me, but when you think about of somebody which is a very toxic maximalist Bitcoiner, you don't expect somebody as me. But the reason why this happened is because in the past, we've been around for some years. And so we fought the Bitcoin wars. We fought very, I wouldn't say violently, but very strongly for Bitcoin as it is now. We have done everything in our power. And I use the plural because we were a community in Milan, because I worked a lot with Giacomo and this. So during those years, it was very important to be not only minimalist, but also very strong and very strict in our opinion, because I wouldn't say that our opinion mattered that much for Bitcoin, but in the end, in a way, yes, we all as a community influence each other to take some position, to take some strong decision to help Bitcoin during the block size wars and no 2x movement some month later. And so I have been kind of strong. I am a very soft person. If you know me, so everything is soft about me, my color and my way of communicating. But in that regard, everybody had to be really strong in that. It was too important for us. And when you care about something, you cannot be soft. And so this is the reason why I think that Bitcoin maximalism can be also something important for a normal person that doesn't look like a shadowy coder or just like you think just like a Bitcoin maximalist, just like a person that is just eat only meat, of course, do strength training all the time, is very masculine, and all the things connected to that. Well, I can agree with some. I'm definitely not that masculine, right? I have, so for example, that definition is very far away from me and from what I say, from what I am. I can have some point in common, but it's not about that. It's not about eating meat. I eat meat. I love meat. I have been carnivore for years. That's not the point. The point when you reduce it, it's about being super minimalist in the regard of Bitcoin, and that's the thing we all share, and that's all the only thing we care about as Bitcoin maximalists, right?
Absolutely. It's for me so interesting because it comes down to, as you said, minimalism and focus, for example. Because when you have all, especially for newbies, and this is why I'm so bullish about speaking only about Bitcoin and making it clear to newcomers that it's Bitcoin that's decentralized. It's Bitcoin that does all the crazy stuff, and all the other altcoins or the shitcoinery is trying to mimic what Bitcoin is doing to cash in on the trend. But they are not
Exactly.
even decentralized. Like the first thing they want to solve, decentralization, they don't have it, and this is what I'm really trying to get it across. And like I get comments all the time, like, "Oh, why don't you talk about this coin?" Or "Can you maybe invite this person?" And then I look at their profile, I'm like,
Uh,
"Oh, it's a shit coiner," and I'm like, I'm so sorry, and I'm trying to be always really kind. Like I'm at my heart a very kind person. I'm not the shut up and go away in person. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm having a Bitcoin only channel, so I will only talk about Bitcoin. Like I'm really usually really kind and also kind of soft. I would describe myself, but in terms of Bitcoin, I'm like, no, it's Bitcoin only. Like not even Ethereum. It's not even closely to decentralized as it should be. Yeah, so but you
and
also, yeah.
yeah, no, and that's I think comes to the second point. As point I strongly believe it just being a Bitcoin maximalist is also about empathy on the people around you, because you don't want that other people get scammed. But I don't mean only scammed by investing in something that doesn't have any value, but also scammed about spending their time on these stupid projects. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to prevent you to get lost in this project, because otherwise you're going to waste your time, you're going to waste your energy, and in the end your value. And that's not a good scenario. But the worst scenario, of course, it is you're going to be scammed. We know so many people that lost so much money in this project, and also they also get lost and lost their reputation following those projects and those tokens project, ICO, whatever. I mean, I have seen so many tragic things to these people, and I don't want for other people to endorse this type of behavior. So, in the end, it's trying to be very empathetic to the newcomers. I think there are great ways to communicate that in an empathetic, soft way, very, very polite way. But in the end, the message should be clear. Many people, I have done many jobs in my life. One of my job is to be a vocal coach. So when I teach, I am a coach. So I teach people to sing, and I have to correct mistakes all the time. And many of my students actually told me, "Oh, you are very nice to me. You never say that I'm wrong." No, we record the lessons. Come back. I always say the truth, but I try to say that in a way that you can metabolize and you can accept that. But I will never say something that I don't believe. I will never say that note was correct when it was wrong. So there is a way to convey strong stuff in a nice way, right? And still, the intention is to be nice with these people. I mean, we cannot prevent them to do all the mistakes, but we can do our best to try to make them to look at the real stuff, right? Also because we have seen so many people, also because personally many of us have done the mistakes by ourselves, so we strongly believe, we strongly want for them not to do the same, right? So that's our very strong why.
I think I get now why people are calling you the godmother of Italy's Bitcoin community. Why did this originate? Like, how did this came to be? I usually before I research about a guest, I even put it in ChatGPT. And I put your
Wow.
name in ChatGPT and asked you. I think I put like something like, "Oh, I'm interviewing this person, and she is in Italy." And then it actually came up like in the end of like she's known as the godmother of Italy's community. Like ChatGPT is calling
Amazing.
you like that.
So it's because of a journalist, Lake, and she wrote an article on me, probably was 2017, and that was the title of the article, and I love that so much
Hmm.
because it was so true. Because at that time, my job was to create a community in Milan, but the majority of my work actually was trying to get all the best experts in the Bitcoin space at that time to our hub, a laboratory in Milan, to get them to work together and to work for us to get the best information, to connect the best project, to get the best. So you have to imagine that during 2017, there weren't many places in the world, just like physical places in the and also, I mean, uh, maximalist place where people weren't trying to scam you, but we were trying to enhance the people. So I took care of this expert just like the best way that I could. So I was following them in their project in every single step that I could. So I felt that was a very nice definition of what I was doing, protecting them, trying to get the best from them, to get the best opportunities, because they were amazing in their projects. So we were trying to connect them with the money and the reality of the business words, connecting those two words together, because they didn't have the knowledge, they had the knowledge. So we were a sort of a proxy, and also a proxy between all of these projects, because we were like, oh my god, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, there is somebody else working on that. If you put everything together, oh, that's interesting, you can do something without all this effort, right? The majority of times those things kind of happen, and it kind of worked, of course not every single time. So I think the definition was very nice, and also it was really, really Italian as a definition, and just like referring to the padrino, and was very, very, very nice. So I decided to keep it because I really identify in that, and also I identify as someone that I mean, I really like all the human right implication and the whys behind Bitcoin, but I'm very passionate also about the technology. And so for me, talking with nerds, talking with people that really build Bitcoin code and all the application and the tools, to me is one of the best thing in the world. I can listen to them. I can learn from them all the time. And when you connect the two things together, technology and freedom, boom, that's
Hmm.
Bitcoin, right? But this is also about other projects just like Noster, and other projects just like Kit, and everything that the guys are doing there. So I think that's one of the things that I love the most in my life.
What do you see as the most exciting tools, or like the most exciting things going on in the Bitcoin community outside of like just having Bitcoin? Like there, as you mentioned, there's Nostra. There are so many nice applications. There's Lightning. Then there's like different layer two solutions with Fediment, Liquid. Like there's so much going on. What's
Yeah,
like
there's so
your
much going on, but still, I would say that right now, I know I don't want to enter in this, but we are very close to a sort of a ossification of the code. So right now, this is not as important as it used to be. And the tools, also the first level of the tools, are becoming very, very solid too. They still lack a lot of user interface features to reach all the people around. So I think we can start thinking on something else. And what I mean about that, I think that decentralize everything is a very good and nice quote to say. So we have to enter in a sort of I mean, in the past, we have been very focused on the implication also and companies about business, finance, or whatever. But I feel that we should arrive with the centralization or censorship resistant peer to peer qualities also on. Just like ordinary tools that we use all the time. We're experimenting on Noster. We know that Noster has many, many flaws, and that's the reality. But still, I think that it's super cool to experiment and to understand what the community really use and want. So I'm really excited on see everything that is going on there, especially, I mean, Zaps are incredible. Zaps are really, really incredible. We have tried to overcome that part. We have never been able to do that because every time we did the tips on platforms, the platforms are centralized, they are controlled. And so even if Noster as problem can be and become centralized in the future, not so far away, still right now we could do free stuff without being stopped. I have seen so many companies and people trying to do tips on Twitter, X, whatever, but they couldn't because they have been stopped by the platform itself. So right now we have a toy just like Noster to experiment without being stopped. Okay, so also I'm very excited on all the blog, the news, everything you can do from there, and also all the integration. So personally, I'm working on that, on trying to understand how we can bridge together other similar projects with Noster and between and all this project together. I can tell too much, but I'm really excited because it just like as I told you before, I am I see that people are in this phase of they don't notice, but they are kind of reinventing the wheel while they should actually put all the effort together. And from time to time, they are so focused on their stuff, they don't see the big picture. So somebody that is not that competent, but coming from outside, can see the big picture and say, "Hey guys, you're working on the same stuff, or you can implement the same things." And have you noticed that? And so I think that's really interesting. So many people, not so many actually, some people are working on amazing stuff, but haven't noticed yet that they can put all the effort together. And so this is what I'm looking to see in the next month, year, hopefully. I mean, everything is going so fast that probably during the next weeks, which is amazing, right?
Yeah, it's amazing how fast this goes. And also, like
Yeah,
in Nostra, there's like this concept of value for value. And this
yeah.
is quite new and amazing for me. Like this podcast is also on Fountain, it's on YouTube, and it's all the platforms. And I get tips just directly to the wallet. When you see on Nostra, on Damos, wherever you are then entering it, my address, and you can directly send it to me. And there's like no fee to it. But then there is Fountain. I think there's a small fee to it,
Hmm.
but most of it actually comes through. And I'm appreciating everyone that is like streaming there, like tipping there, and it's really, really cool. And then there's YouTube. YouTube, there are channel members, so like they're paying, like I think have one thing where it's like 1.99 per month, and it's like just a comment priority. I
Yeah.
just activated, and I was not expecting anybody to join, but people actually join, and I was like, wow, interesting, thank you.
Yeah.
And then there's also super thanks, like people are on YouTube giving tips on it, and the most the biggest difference is like the cut that the platforms take on Fountain and all the others, like a really small cut. Like most of it comes directly to me, like to the person that the sender sent it. But YouTube takes on the super thanks over 50% of the cut.
Wow.
It's like someone gave me, I think, 10 Swiss franc, actually, someone from Swiss. And on my side was like 475 euros came through. So that tells you a lot. And I think
Yeah.
value for value on Fountain, on Nostra, on whatever platform, it will be a really good future. How do you see value for value, and even like value for value against sponsorships, against advertisements? What do you see coming there?
Yeah, I just want to add to you that on YouTube, personally, I really love when the Albi application is on. So I see I think it's a bee. I don't know. The bee is turning just like blue, and just like, oh my God, I can tip directly through through the extension. So this is amazing. YouTube is not going to get anything. I can give something directly to the creators. So I really love what they are doing at Albi, because it's so easy, and it's so yeah. It just like I'm surprised, because many people they want to donate, but they don't have the facility to do that. They don't have the. I mean, they are in the moment. They want to do that. They are not bad people. They just forget about it, right? Or it's just too complicated, or just want to go with the flow with a podcast, with a content. It's just not like the people are lazy, or just like they are not very very nice people. It's just like they don't have the tools most of the time, right? So if we facilitate that, where also Bitcoiners are very, very generous. And so I think, coming back to the question, that value for value is incredible. Also for non-Bitcoiners, is the model, is just how it should be. You do something, I give you something in return. It's just like in the past it was just normal. Also, if you go in a street and you hear somebody just play music, and you think it's something valuable, and you like that moment, and you have some cash with you, so you just tip the guy that is playing the guitar because you like it. It's so easy as a concept. You hear something you like, you tip immediately, proportionally on the value you think that happening there, right? It's just between me and you. It's a peer-to-peer something. We think that is something about the future. It is, because about the tools are digital tools of the future. But the reality is that it has been the natural way that we always had as human beings to interact with each other and to help each other. And if I don't think you are giving me value, if you're bothering me, I'm going away, and I don't tip you. So easy, right? But if you have a platform between me and you, things complicate. Of course, platforms are not evil per se. It is a good thing. Centralization is not always a bad thing, because it's very efficient to have somebody. The network effect can happen because of platforms, right? On YouTube, there you get so many people listening to your job you couldn't get in other spaces. But also in that, I mean, there are exceptions, because if you are with your niche, probably you're going to get directly to your audience, and not all the people that you can get on a platform just like YouTube, even if the algorithm should prevent that. But still, it's something manipulated in for them, not for you and directly to the creator. So, and also it feels just like that. I mean, it just feels very impersonal. Uh, Giving something just like a sponsorship, or giving something just like a donation, while doing that immediately feels just like so personal. You feel more involved with that creator. You feel that you're doing something good, not only for the creator, but for the contents you are helping, you are deciding. So it's very rewarding. One thing that I noticed personally, it's just like it's very addictive. When you start giving zaps and giving small tips, it's just like you want to do more and more and more. You get bothered if you don't find that on other platform. It just feels so wrong. It happened to me so fast, actually. After some days, some ways I was tapping, I was like, oh my God, I want to give some sats to this creator, and I can't. A like is not enough. A direct donation, too much. I don't have time. I don't want to. And also, they don't understand for what it is the donation for. They cannot improve their quality, because if you have done especially good jobs, the feedbacks you can get from from saving the content, yes, they are not that important, because I have another project on Instagram. I talk about another topic, which is polymathy, and so I tend to get some feedbacks from that. But my community, actually, many people are writing me just like, I love your content, and I'm just like, you never liked any single content, but they are true fan, and they don't demonstrate that, right? And so I cannot grow my quality. I cannot really um, have a serious feedback. But when you have some value, some strong value, just like sats, I know for certain that they are giving me value exactly for that content in that moment. And so we can grow together, and also they can get amazing and more quality contents over time. It's a win-win for everyone.
So do you think that the platforms like Fountain versus YouTube, Nostra versus like Twitter X, and all this stuff,
Yeah.
do you think that the network effects that these big platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter have, because when we see now Nostra and when we see Twitter, there's a lot more action right now on Twitter, like so many more people. And I think it takes a long time to break those network effects, but it's possible. Do you see like those network effects from the centralized sites breaking? Will it live side by side? There will be like Twitter. There will also be Nostra big. Like, how do you see the future of like social media?
So I personally think that please don't blame me, but I don't think Noster will survive because it has many flaws. But it is a great place. It's given us so many lessons, and also I think it's amazing the idea that we can try to break it in every possible way without consequences. So I don't want people to come there. I very like the definition of Noster, just like a garden. Noster is a garden, and while X is for the fight. So we fight with other people, we reach other people on X, even if we don't like the idea is on a platform where we can be the deplatformed. It's a very difficult term. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, every single moment. So it's not a great feeling. It's nice to be on Noster and to try stuff, but possibly it can survive for so long. But it's going to give us so many lessons to build something different. And I'm not sure if Bitcoin, but probably Bitcoin will be the will going to boost, just like now, a new social media with new, probably new terms, and it's not the other way around, right? So it's just like we have two needs, and when people is going to use Bitcoin, and there is going to be more adoption, they are going to want to use Bitcoin, and so probably they are going to converge on a platform that really give them everything they want, also using Bitcoin very easily. I don't know if it's going to be Noster, probably not, but we have to be really ready with that, because when it's going to explode, I don't know if it's going to explode actually, but at some point there is going to be a moment when we are going to notice it's just not like in the past, right? For me right now, just like, oh my God, so many people are using Bitcoin, so many services coming from the first years. I mean, right now it's just amazing, but it's not the reality. I mean, as long as my uh, mom is not going to use Bitcoin, there is something that is still for nerds. We are those nerds, and so when Bitcoin is going to be easier, the platform. Not the platform. I mean, the decentralized also platform that is going to help in transacting value easier. So I think that creators are going to be very crucial in that, because we see many creators, and they are very bothered by the idea that they cannot receive anything. I mean, for example, uh, mm, I create contents on Instagram, for example, and I didn't get a single sat, a single cent from there. Actually, break even, but only because they invited me doing some stuff, and that's okay. But otherwise, I would be pushed to create content and products that I'm not that happy to do, only to get some return, right? So I think the majority of creators are tired, but also the audience. They don't like all these influencers trying to sell you everything and lowering the quality, because they have to focus on selling stuff they are not so happy to sell. They are not good quality. So from creators, I'm expecting that when they discover something just like value to value, they will be very happy to use it. We are very in early stages, but there are plenty of creators in the world, and they are very ready to use us.
Yeah, definitely. And I think at some point there will be Bitcoin as a standard medium of exchange, as a standard unit of account.
Yeah.
Then it will be a no-brainer that also on the centralized platforms like Twitter, like YouTube, there will be a Bitcoin implementation of that. I don't know if it happens in like 5 years or 50 years or 500 years.
See, the problem is there have been some experimentation, but if the platform decide that you cannot do that because it's violating the rules, you have to stop. And so once again, you have to be very smart. Just like I was saying before, Albi extension is not going through YouTube, but it interacts with YouTube. So in the end, it's a peer-to-peer exchange through an app platform. So there, many people are coming with new solution. So in the future, we can have both. Why not? So we can have decentralized places, and also we can get very smart in trying to circumvent all these rules, because Bitcoiners are super smart, right? They will find solutions, so they cannot stop us. But I think, as I was saying before, one, the request is coming for creators is going to be really strong, because the platform should adapt, because they live because of creators. Is nobody's creating anymore. I mean, and nobody's publishing there anymore because they suck. They have to adapt to the new stuff, and so probably it's not easy, but I try to do my best to show all the creators the powerful concept behind value for value. And luckily, it's so easy to get, right? But of course, they have to adapt to use Bitcoin. And nowadays, it's easier because of Lightning and all the tools we have right now. Still, not the trivial. So they are like, oh, I love this idea of value for value, but at the same time, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to do all this stuff. It seems so complicated. And of course, there are so many things on the plate right now, because also on Nostr, we want to preserve our identities. We want to use the keys. We also want to look for censorship resistance. So it's so much for the normal person to get this. So I heard about some experiment, just like trying to to call the Zap differently, not to see there is something about Bitcoin. Zap is not about Bitcoin, for example, but still trying to, hide. There is all this technology, there is Bitcoin behind, which seems like shady, but it's not bad because it's an entry point to some people that need these services and they are ready to learn about that, right? There are plenty of people, for example, on Twitch, gamers or whatever. I'm not aware that much because I don't tend to go there, but they are very smart, they are young, they are. So I think in the end, every single entry point for Bitcoin, for Zap, for value is great, even if at the beginning it doesn't sound like that. So it's something that I really work on in whatever I do. Also for Bitcoin, I try to delete the barriers. So one of the barriers, the strongest barrier, is about technology, of course. One is about our limitation on money, our limitation on what we do, we should do. Another one is language. So this is the reason why I have created this very long list of Italian resources about Bitcoin in Italian, because when you delete, when you break all these barriers, it's getting easier to go to the core. And since we really love Bitcoin, and also we not only love Bitcoin, but we love to talk about Bitcoin, but we also love to bring Bitcoin to other people, especially people around us. I think it's very important to break these barriers all the time, the best we can.
21 Bitcoin is Bitcoin only from day one, and they teach and preach self custody. This is my go to exchange when someone asks me, oh, where can I buy my Bitcoin from? This is the easiest entry for Bitcoiners. And if you want lower fees, plus at the same time support this podcast, use code Robin and click the link in the description. Yeah, definitely. And you told me beforehand that you're also moving now to the, as
Yeah.
I said, the Bitcoin heart of the Bitcoin adoption heart of Europe, Lugano,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
amazing. And first of all, congratulations to this step. I think it's great to live in a city where you can actually spend your Bitcoin also, like you can
Yes.
live more and more in the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Yeah.
How deep did you have already like integrated Bitcoin in your life, and what do you expect like to see in Lugano in like a more closer Bitcoin standard city?
Yeah. I have to say that I lived in El Salvador 2 months this year, 1 month last year. So I was in El Zonte. So yeah, just in the middle of a Bitcoin circular economy. So I have experienced that before and it was pretty amazing. One of the things that I liked the most was going to the Bitcoin farmer market. So buying directly all the things, food, books, cafe, gadget, everything directly in Bitcoin so easily, so fast, no intermediation. It was awesome. So I cannot expect something like that in Lugano because the situation is different in some regards, better in some regards, worse probably. But I really love the idea that I can potentially live right now in Lugano with Bitcoin only because there are 300 places accepting Bitcoin. So I'm not sure if they're covering everything you need, but with some services in the end you will find a way, just like buying some vouchers or so I'm kind of pretty new to these things, even if I'm in the space since some years, but I'm starting to experiment more with these services and trying to spend a little bit more of my sats, especially in Bitcoin circular economy. I know there are plenty of people, not plenty, but some people would say, uh, yeah, just like Bitcoin circular economy is just like people that want your sats. Yes, they want my sats, but I want their services and their products too. So I think it's kind of fair. So if I don't want their service, they are not asking me. They are, I mean, it's mutual. And that's okay. If I find that I want to use fiat, I can still use fiat all the way that I want. So, but of course, I tend to think more when I use my sats, and also it really help me with the quality of the product and the quality of my spending, which is a very nice thing because Bitcoin told me to save a lot, and so this is my mindset all the time. But I think that for everyone that spends some in a circular economy, there is the idea of helping the people around them and expecting to help that economy, in the sense that the providers of the people are going to ask for Bitcoin and they are going to spend Bitcoin, and it's going to create this very nice circular environment where more people are accepting Bitcoin, more people are used to Bitcoin, and so on. So you try to do that with a transaction, a physical transaction. And what I am noticing is just like in Lugano, slowly, it came from, I mean, it came from the top, like an idea. It's not a grassroots movement coming from the people from the beach wanting some Bitcoin for their service. It's just like very coordinated from the mayor, from the municipality. And but still, it is very nice because people are accepting Bitcoin, many shops, many services, and they're okay because from time to time you enter them and they are just like, you are the first one. Okay, I was in McDonald's in I don't remember if it was Chiasso or Mendrisio, but I wasn't expecting to see the Bitcoin symbol. And one of the two were like, okay, so easy. We did the transaction and that was okay. In the other one, they were like, oh, nobody asked us before. You are the first one. Okay, so both were McDonald's, same area, and completely different experience. And so the second time we were like trying to manage that, they had to call the boss to understand how to do that. And maybe you waste some of your time, but you feel just like proud because I'm the first one, and the next time they are going to do that. So it's a very an amazing sensation to be the catalyst in a way, because you are bothering them. You are the catalyst of starting something, and and for them, that's the first time they are using accepting Bitcoin with all the tools, and they are starting to think about Bitcoin, and this is spreading and spreading very slowly, but it's spreading. I mean, it's also a very small area, so I would expect it's going to be easy to cover also the area around outside Lugano. But so it's very nice. I'm really excited to go there. But you also have to think that there is a physical hub right now, a physical laboratory, co-working, and I love the idea. It's already kind of ready, but it's going to be open, I think, to the public soon. And I really like the idea that there is a physical space where Bitcoiners can come from all over the world, working again on the project, find each other, to have a meetup every once in a while. And I think that's really powerful. I had this experience in the past in Milano. I have been in other places all around the world, and online is incredible. We can do most of the stuff online, but offline is where the magic happens, for the reason why that we see each other. There is this sort of communication, and as an Italian, I would say that the majority of the project, that the majority of the best stuff has always been in front of food. Always discussing with some good food. And that's really, I mean, it's the quality of being together with that attention, with that, with everything that's being there provided. So I'm super excited for Lugano, not to only have the circular economy, not only have a conference, not to have so many people working from there, and and coming and moving to Lugano, because I know plenty of people that are moving there. We are not the only one. Of course, I'm excited about Plan B Network initiative, because it's about centralization in a good way of education. So it's a giant effort, and of course, I am proud of the guys from for what they are doing, but also excited to have a place not only during the 2-3 days during October, but all year around in Lugano. So keep an eye on Lugano, because I think 2024 is going to be an incredible year.
Yeah, I think, and we talked about it before a little bit. This whole game theory will play out. The cities, the places, the countries that have adopted Bitcoin, or at least are really friendly to Bitcoin, like most of the time, they don't even have to be adopting Bitcoin. They just have to be really friendly. Oh, you don't have to
Yeah.
pay taxes on that. You can accept it in your stores. You can do everything you want to do with Bitcoin, and we just stand out of the way. This is like, if you have this
Right.
kind of mindset as a government to
Yeah.
Bitcoin, you will do
Yeah.
really good in the next years. You don't even have to do crazy stuff as El Salvador does. Of course, this will benefit you even more. But even just saying, "Oh, we are neutral to Bitcoin. You can pay your taxes in Bitcoin. It's okay. We will convert it back to our local currencies, but you can pay your taxes in Bitcoin if you want."
Yeah, but
And
I have to say that Switzerland is a special place for that. So it was 2017. I was pregnant, and I was in a meeting with the municipality of Chiasso, which is a very small city on the border of Switzerland. And I think that Giacomo was supposed to be there, but he couldn't. So I was the one going there. And so during this meeting, I was like, why don't you accept Bitcoin? I was with the mayor and the people from the municipality, and I was, why don't you accept Bitcoin for taxes a little bit, slightly more than Zug, because Zug was the city that was accepting Bitcoin at the time for the most amount. I think it's going to be a very huge marketing move. And I was there and they were like, okay, let's do that. Sounds just like a good idea. It's going to be a matter of some days. And I saw a news published on the newspaper. We're going to accept Bitcoin for taxes, and we're going to be the city with where you can pay in Bitcoin for the with the biggest amount. And I
well,
was like, oh my God, it was just a random idea. So Switzerland, not all the country are just like Switzerland, right? I mean, coming from Italy, I was just like, oh my God, in Italy, it wouldn't be possible because it's going to take years, right? Month at least. And everything was so smooth that I was really surprised, because they didn't tell me anything else except I heard from the newspaper directly, and I was really, really happy. And I think they still accept Bitcoin for taxes. Not many people are paying for taxes in Bitcoin, which sound really weird as a concept. I always find it very weird. But I, I agree with you, but there are places that are readier mentally and also bureaucratically more ready even at being neutral to Bitcoin to others. So I can expect my lovely country to be a beautiful hub for Bitcoin. But I think Italian people, for example, are incredible in finding solution to circumvent the state, and found crazy, amazing solution for Bitcoin too. It's not. I don't think it's just. So extraordinary the fact that the first Bitcoin economy that is ever been created in the world was born in Italy, in Rovereto. I was telling you before, the Bitcoin Valley is so old. I think it was 2015, 16. Maybe not the first one, because there was also Arnhem in the Netherlands. So I guess it was the second, but it was the stronger concentration all over the world for years. It's not very well known outside Italy, but you can find an article, very nice article from Aaron Van Wiert at Bitcoin Magazine, talking about the Bitcoin Valley, how early they were in that. So I think that I'm very bullish on Bitcoiners. So I'm not that bullish on the state, because I know it's complicated for many reasons. Even being neutral, I love for them to be neutral, but it's complicated. I'm bullish on Bitcoiners. They will find a way.
Definitely, and this is the message I think that is important. We don't even need that. Like, I think it will
Yeah,
come. Then states will adopt it, but we don't
yeah.
need it. Like Bitcoin works fine without it. And on the topic of Italian governments and Bitcoin adoption in Italy, what's the state in Italy? How do the government see it? What's the grassroots movement going through? Like, do you have like a for for people to?
So no, no, no. Let's start from the good news. The good news is, I was telling you before, I curate a list of Italian resources around Bitcoin. It's a very long list on GitHub, and I started, I think, 3 years ago. And so it was really, really, really short. So it didn't take me so much time. Nowadays, I have to push a merge every week, and the last one was so huge because we got right now so many podcasts, so many articles, so many services accepting Bitcoin, so many shops, so many communities, meetups, you name it. It's crazy, everything completely in Italian. For example, German community is very active, and so the Italian community, also the French community, is very active, but the Italian one was in the past. It has some years that it wasn't, but right now is so strong. So it's incredible. And also there are people that they don't stop. They create so much stuff. I'm really, really, really proud of my country in that. In the other part, I think that they are, I mean, the government, they are really confused. So, as always, right now with the Meloni government, um, in a way, it is better for some regards, slightly better than in the past. In other, is worse. And one of the things they are was is about technology, is about improvement, is about everything that is sounds. I mean, they are very pro. They are kind of conservative in that. So I think they see Bitcoin just something from outside, something scary, something shady. So actually, during this year, some rules have been made, not as strong, but against Bitcoin for the first time. They are more aware than in the past, and not in a good way. But still, it's really chaotic. There is nothing that coordinating. So the spot is still kind of off around Bitcoin. So which is great. It's still great, but there are signs they are coming and strongly. As always, I mean, not always, but as we have seen, especially during the lockdown, Italian police and government can be really strong in their rules and their law. The enforcement, luckily, is definitely not that homogeneous, but I would suggest, I mean, I think that people that are doing businesses and everything around Bitcoin in Italy, they are really brave. There is a space right now. Nothing's going to happen suddenly, but I would very aware that it's not going to last. So be ready to move, because they are not friendly with Bitcoin and not even neutral, in my opinion.
It will be interesting to see how the adoption will play out and what Bitcoiners will face in the next like 5, 10, 20 years.
Wow.
That will be really, really interesting. And I think every Bitcoiner, I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Um, I did not have any calls till now, till any podcast. Today I got the third one.
Wow.
Something probably happened, but it's okay. Is there like in Italy? I think every country has their own view of Bitcoin. Like it gets globalized with the digital revolution, with like social media and everything.
Yeah.
We have different kind of views still on Bitcoin. Is there any specific Italian FAT on Bitcoin? Is there anything that Italians look differently to Bitcoin, which the global community would be like, oh, why? Why?
Well, I think the Italian culture is um, is a lot about saving money. So, for example, if you get a discount or something that is going to be given for free, oh my God, Italian will run. Or you promise them some food, they are going to run. I think the incentives are kind of easy for Italian. We are very easy people. So if we are going to feel that we are going to save some money with Bitcoin, I mean, saving from buying stuff or giving something in return, just a small gift or something to eat, they won't care that much about anything else, especially in the center and the south of Italy. People from the north of Italy are just more like in love with laws, and we are very boring in that. But the healthy part of Italy, I think we respond very easily to some very, I mean, the same incentive that you usually would have with kids. So if you buy that with Bitcoin, you are going to save 30%. That's really interesting for the Italian culture. And of course, I think that it's going to be the same. I mean, the government is not that smart, and I don't want to give ideas, but I think that they want to get a sort of a Bitcoin tamed Bitcoin CBDC accepted. They should do the same. I mean, I don't want to give them ideas, but the adoption will skyrocket very easily with something like that, right? I think it's shared by most population, but I think Italian are very, I mean, very fast, and that I've seen when there is some sort of a promotion, and they love to get after that. So yeah, that's pretty specific of Italy, and that make me kind of hopeful for the future in that. But since we want to save our sets or whatever, we have not reached that point yet. But I mean. Also at the same time, I'm very proud of Italian Bitcoiners. They are brave, as I told before, but also very productive in everything they do, and very generous in all the things that they are organizing, they are doing. We are passionate about that. We are very passionate, and also because we have this state, such a paternalistic state, and also the people around us, we are very passionate about freeing people, and we have a lot of knowledge about how to circumvent all this I don't know how to say. Yeah, this culture. One thing I don't really like about Italy, just like we feel that we are victims, right? Everybody is against us, the fate, the government, the weather, everything is against us personally. But Bitcoiners are just the Italian Bitcoiners are just the opposite. They look for the future, they save money for their legacy, they want to organize the stuff just because they want to do that. And that's a good example for anybody else around them. At the beginning, people around them are just like, those are weirdos. Why do you do that? You want to scam us in a way. But in the end, they are oh my God, there is a term I have only in Italian. They want to I mean, it's going to start from there, and it's going to go everywhere else, and then it's going to be just like yeah, Italian Bitcoiners are strong catalyst to Bitcoin.
That's good to hear. And to slowly come to the end of the podcast, I always try to have like a vision for the future and what the Bitcoin standard would look like. And for me, it's interesting to hear different kind of answers to that, because when we see Bitcoin in the future, and I always make this comparison, when you have a fiat standard, you're like on the beach and you are like knee deep in the water and you try to run in the knee deep water, you will fall, you will have a hard time going forward.
Yeah,
And then when you on a Bitcoin standard, you're like on a solid street, you can run fast, you can do like
yeah,
it's like when you have solid sound money, you can run fast and you can do stuff. How do you imagine like Bitcoin changing a little bit society? Has it an impact on society even because it's, as some people say, it's just money, or does it has an impact on society for like the next, when we are on a Bitcoin standard?
So since you have heard so many answers to that, I won't focus on the most trivial one, but the one that I've been thinking a lot nowadays is about how Bitcoin is going to free us from our day to day jobs, and is going to give us back a lot of our free time. And this is going to boost the knowledge of the humanity too.
Mhm.
In that, I have no small terms. I think it's going to have an enormous impact. I'm imagining this. There is this expression that it's been used. I mean, just like Renaissance 2.0. But when I think of that, it's not something that I think politically. I think is going to be just like during the Rinascimento Italiano, where all the people were together and they were in the same place. There is this Medici effect. I don't know if you heard about that, but from all these smart people having a lot of time staying together, probably around some food again, they were discussing, they were improving the human knowledge because they have the time to focus on that, because they have also the will to stay together, not reinventing the wheel, and they wanted to boost that for the humankind. So I'm expecting that more and more people are free from day to day stuff, so they can focus on knowledge, they can focus on their families, they can focus on passion, on do whatever they want, and in return, not only they are going to be happier than they are right now, but I think they are going to liberate a lot of value for all the humanity right now and in the future. I'm expecting something like that, not less. I'm strongly bullish on that, because I'm seeing that all these Bitcoiners, they can have a perspective on the future. They can have hope on their future for themselves and their legacy. And so they can quit their job, they can save the money, they can focus on the thing that really matters to them, and they can really matter on improving the values for our society. So can you imagine when more and more people can do that, and they cannot be focused on being a slave for their bosses? I mean, there's nothing bad in doing that, absolutely not. And if you don't live just like that, and if you're so happy doing your job, it's amazing. But since I know so many people that they live in a terrible condition, they are so unhappy with daily life. They don't have free time, they don't have time, quality time, to do the things they love. They don't have time to stay with the kids. And so also many people don't have the time to really study what matters to them. I'm imagining a Bitcoin standard that people will choose what to do with their time, especially their free time. Free time, leisure time, it's so important. We live in a society where this time is a nice to have. I come from the idea, in ancient Greece and also in Rome, there was a term for that. Especially in Rome, there is a lozio. Otium was not, so otium was the time you spent for yourself, to grow yourself, and there was negotium, the time for business, regarding others, to get some money or whatever. So what I want for the future, and I imagine for the future, in a Bitcoin standard, it's more otium, more time for the things that make life beautiful, more time that for the things that really matter for us, and for some of people, even some time to improve the knowledge for everybody else. This is going to be the real Rinascimento 2.0 that I envision. I know it's a lot, but I'm mm, pretty sure in my very specific and accurate vision.
I love it, and I think this we all look forward to this Bitcoin future, and we can even see it now. Like if you adopt the Bitcoin standard now, your life definitely changes for the better. If you
Yeah.
actually become like a Bitcoiner mindset, like even if you don't have Bitcoin, like let's make an experiment. Like you are a Bitcoiner for 1 year and you get the Bitcoin mindset, but you lose all your Bitcoin. You still having a knowledge gain, a mindset gain, a
Wow.
switch in your mind, and you're
So
still
true.
gaining something. So even if you
Yeah.
are getting a Bitcoin and you lost your Bitcoin for some reason in a boating accident, as I think you also and me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think that's yes. It's about knowledge gain. It's also about skill gain. It's also mindset gain, but it's also about all the people you have met. Your network is so powerful. With Bitcoiners, I feel that especially when I was during the lockdown, we were the first one experiencing that in Milan, and that was really crazy. But having a network of Bitcoiners all around the world really made me hopeful, really make me feel safe. And so that was a very I wouldn't want to have us, I mean, such a specific situation to test that, but it happened. And to me it was everything because I felt it before, but then it happened. And so we received some packages from people helping us with stuff we couldn't find. We even got some sets, we even got some support, we even got, I mean, it's so powerful. The
Mm,
amazing people I have known because of Bitcoin, the network I have because of Bitcoiners make me feel really safe for myself and for, I mean, for my kids too. So it's really important. The human factor is so undervalued, and especially for Bitcoiners, we have been used to be the weirdos, as I was saying you before, and it's tough for us. It has been tough for us to find people that resonate with us. Now we got plenty all over the world, which is incredible. And so, for example, I'm usually a kind of introvert and I don't talk that much. But when I talk about Bitcoin, oh my God, I can talk for hours. I'm a completely different person because I'm surrounded by people that I resonate with. And every day I know more people that I can also learn from. It doesn't happen in my everyday life. So even if Bitcoin goes to zero, I don't own any sats anymore. The gain, it's so powerful, so important for
mm.
me. I wouldn't say I don't care that much, but actually it's very close to that. Yeah.
And we definitely don't want to lose our Bitcoin, but it happens from time to time.
Yeah. Well, trust me, we have done so many stupid things during this year, right?
I
This
had
is why we want to tell people all this stuff, just like don't keep your Bitcoin on exchanges because it happened to us, for example, right?
Yeah, and just for people that are listening now, I have a podcast episode with Rick, who lost the 25 Bitcoin,
Yeah.
where we also had Tony on, like a cybersecurity expert, and this is like one great episode. Like I think it has like 3, 4 really good episodes on self custody, what we can do and stuff like that. There's so
Yeah.
much material, but I encourage everybody get a good self custody solution before you get extremely rich. Like get it before you need it.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I talk about how amazing it is to be surrounded by Bitcoiners or whatever. But at the same time, you want to come again, don't trust, verify, because I mean, we're all human. And even the best people in the worst situation can turn in somebody else. And
Mm.
so keep everything safe. It's not about be adversarial in everything you do, but when you want to protect your value, the value for yourself and your family, you want to be skeptical and to protect with self custody in the best way you can. And I think all the other Bitcoiners will understand that because that's the mindset we should have. So yeah, Don't trust, verify. It's an amazing quote. We always have to think about that. It's the mindset of a Bitcoiner. It doesn't change, right?
And that's the beauty of it. Like you can look it up yourself. You can do it yourself. And this is amazing. Yeah. We are having an end routine in the podcast where the previous guest is asking a question for the next guest.
Oh,
And
wow.
the previous guest asked a question for you about, Greg Wright. I mean, he asked the question, is Greg Wright Satoshi? But, but I
Well,
will,
it's kind of easy. I mean, there's also important people that during these weeks told us that he is not. But we don't need those kind of people. I was pretty sure about it even
yes.
before.
So this is also like my take on it. Like it's like we don't need the judge to tell us this. It was so obvious before that, but it's nice that we have a confirmation now.
Yeah, right. And it's cool because I mean, also for normies, we can say there is a sort of important people from some institution they're telling us that it is not correct, right? Because majority of people will only believe in authorities, and that's the reality, right?
And the thing is, even if the decision would have been different, if the jury, for example, like the judge and the jury, like for some reason said, like, oh, he is Satoshi Nakamoto, what would it change? Nothing. It's like
Yeah,
it
right.
does not.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Then,
Yeah,
thank you, Mira. It was such a pleasure to have you on. Such a like
it was
it's always
really,
fascinating.
really.
With people that you just met, like we was on the first call, like we never spoke before that
Yeah,
call, and it feels
yeah,
like we meet we know each other for like a little while. And
yeah.
thank you for speaking here. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Um,
And hopefully we will meet somewhere in some circular economies or some conferences. And
100%.
yes, yeah, I should have a question for the next guest, or the next guest can be free because I have a question.
Yes, perfect. I usually do it offline, but you can say like
No, no, no. So I have more time to think about it. So
yes,
I
exactly.
will.
No, no, like I just don't want to pressure the guest into saying a question or while we are going, because like then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I have to think like and I don't want the question to be like a good question. Even though there's no limit to it, like there's like you can do whatever, and will actually just take it to the next question and to the next guest. Yeah, but
Awesome, awesome.
it was a pleasure to having you on, and thank you
Thank you
for
so
taking your
much.
time. For people that have questions and want to reach out to you, where can they reach you the best way?
So I think that on X, they can find me on Mir underscore BTC. So
Hmm.
Mir is MIR. That's my real name, actually. And yes, I tend to reply all the time. I have also an account on Instagram. It's just like Mir underscore Bitcoin. I don't know why Mir BTC was already taken, but that's the reality. And I don't want to give you my NPub, but also you can find me on Noster. It is a little bit too long to remember that. For maybe next time I can learn about it.
Yeah, that's the problem with Nostra. I
Yeah.
also had like 3, 4 guests on it. Like I unfortunately don't know the NPub feed,
Yeah,
but you
right.
can find the link
No.
on the Twitter or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, yes.
perfect. Then thank you for being on.
Thank you so much.